A University of Kentucky doctor sues his employer, accusing them of discrimination. And bishops from around the globe gather at the Vatican to discuss the Catholic Church's most pressing issues of the day.
Plus, we are tracking the potential for the coolest air since early May by this weekend. Those details coming up as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
A University of Kentucky doctor is suing the university and several doctors, claiming he was discriminated against. Dr. Kenneth Ain is a thyroid doctor and claims UK constituted an unlawful employment practice because of his disability and age. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the allegations.
Dr. Kenneth Ain is 67 years old and he has Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism. It's a high-functioning autism disorder. He's been with UK since 1991, but he claims recently that he was treated improperly, harassed, and he lost his position because of his disability. The lawsuit is more than 140 pages long. Dr. Ain claims he was banned from university property, was stripped of endowments, and the university did not investigate repeated complaints. He says his requests for reasonable accommodations were all denied. He says it got so bad that he felt like they were forcing him to resign his employment. According to the lawsuit, Dr. Ain brought up a number of complaints that were ignored. Then the university falsely accused him of non-compliance with regulations. He said other doctors named in the lawsuit as defendants harassed him as well. All of this goes back to 2014. It was stated in the lawsuit that once the university learned he had autism, Dr. Ain was stripped of his endowed professorship. It is also stated in this lawsuit that despite seeking out reasonable accommodations, that nothing has been done for him within the past 5 years. Instead, he said he was simply retaliated against. He was suspended. A temporary injunction, however, was granted him for him to continue seeing his patients. In Lexington, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
We reached out to the University of Kentucky for comment, and spokesman Jay Blanton says they will abide by any decisions of the court. He also says the peer review process, where doctors evaluate the work of other physicians, is an important and long-standing practice that is only instituted after careful and considerable thought. More than 750,000 unionized employees of Kaiser Permanente have walked off the job. It marks the largest healthcare worker strike in United States history. The striking employees work in several states, including Virginia, Colorado, California, Oregon, and in Washington, D.C. They are represented by 8 unions that comprise 40% of that company's total staff. Their union contracts expired September 30th.
We were there during COVID. Frontline healthcare workers were there for our patients, for our communities. We were touted as healthcare heroes. And now when we're at bargaining, all we are told is we're too expensive.
Striking employees say staff shortages have left them feeling overworked. Kaiser Permanente executives say they have agreed to hire thousands more people.
If you're a fan of the warmer weather, be sure to enjoy it because we are tracking some more fall-like air by Friday, also into this weekend. But right now, though, we are still tracking some mild weather. Let's take a live look across the region from London to Hazard to Pikeville. Those temperatures in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Again, we should be in the lower 70s. So once again, we are above average, but those changes are right around the corner. Right now, though, we stay mild into this evening. Those temperatures 83 in Jackson, 82 for Irvin, 84 in Moorhead, also Preston, and 79 for London, also Williamsburg at this hour. Now, as we zoom out and look at the radar, you can see our next weather system, this cold front over Missouri, also Oklahoma, some showers and storms over there. And that means rain chance is going to increase for us as we get towards tomorrow. The good news, no severe weather, but those showers are going to increase across the mountains on Thursday, also Friday. We are tracking more drier weather for this weekend, but some cooler weather as lows dip into the upper 30s in some areas by Sunday morning for the first time since early May. That full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. Several years ago, Kentucky State Police troopers adopted the nationwide event Coffee with a Cop and made it their own, calling it Coffee with a Trooper. Today, troopers at various KSP posts across the region gathered at coffee shops or restaurants to sit down and have conversations with the community. Here in Hazard, Post 13 troopers gathered at Hazard Coffee Company. PIO Matt Gayhart says they enjoy hearing a variety of different topics.
The really awesome thing about this event is we talk about everything from the game this weekend all the way to issues and problems that are occurring in the communities, and it allows us to have that conversation and try to resolve the issues at hand.
Trooper Gayhart says he wants the community to feel like they can approach their state troopers and spark a conversation anytime they see them, but he says they will host the same event again next year at Hazard Coffee Company. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet has announced lane closings on I-75 in Whitley County tomorrow and Friday. KYTC leaders say road work will be happening on the shoulder of the southbound lanes just north of the Tennessee state line. Maintenance is scheduled to occur between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. tomorrow and Friday. Drivers are urged to be careful in that area and be alert for highway workers. It's been called the Super Bowl of the Catholic Church. Bishops from around the world are gathering in Rome to discuss major controversies like female priests and the church's response to its gay members. It's a month-long closed-door meeting known as a synod. CBS's Ian Lee reports.
The future of the Catholic Church is being charted in Rome. Pope Francis opened the summit saying,
No, non siamo qui per fare Parlamento.
"We are not here to make a political rally." But politics are already at play.
What the conservatives fear is that the doctrine of the church, because of this widespread consultation, may be diluted.
For the first time in history, women and lay people will be allowed to vote, helping to decide big questions like, can women become deacons?
We're here in support of those conversations, and we hope that they continue to be courageous, bold, and inclusive.
Other hot-button issues, whether divorced and remarried Catholics can receive communion, and if priests should be allowed to marry. American Cardinal Raymond Burke and 4 others launched a barrage of challenges before the meeting began, including clarification on same-sex couples. In a bombshell response, the Pope opened the door for priests to bless same-sex unions, but fell short of putting them on the same level as heterosexual weddings.
In nomine Patris et Filii.
Pope Francis told followers Wednesday the Catholic Church is in need of repair to make it a welcoming place for everyone. Any changes for the church are likely a long way off. There's another summit next October with a papal document expected out in 2025. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Pope Francis is also tackling the issue of climate change, releasing a new document today warning the world is collapsing due to global warming. He is urging world leaders to agree on binding policies to phase out fossil fuels. Coming up on First at 4, some new numbers from the Labor Department show a better than expected jobs picture.
Plus, if you're heading out to those Thursday football games or festivals, you may need the rain gear. Those details coming up.